Alo Ming Laba. Hello everyone and welcome to this week's news roundup on MMTV. I'm Quentin Covington, here to bring you this week's most significant developments from Myanmar and beyond. Tonight, we cover a range of critical stories, from major announcements by the NUG and their ongoing efforts to strengthen governance, to international collaborations and the persistent challenges faced by journalists, civilians, and communities affected by conflict and crisis. As Myanmar continues its fight for democracy and justice, these stories highlight the resilience and determination of its people in the face of adversity. Stay tuned as we break down the top headlines and provide detailed analysis of the events shaping the future of the nation. Let's begin with the headlines. NUG acting president calls for inclusion of competent allies in government. NUG marks 4 years and announces plans to set up government offices in Sagae region. Myanmar ranks third among countries with the most jailed journalists. Kachin State Comprehensive University, or KSCU, signs MOU with Goethe University in Germany. Pope urges not to forget victims of the Pakant landslide in Myanmar's Kachin State. Thailand and Sri Lanka discuss rescue of trafficking victims in Myanmar. And lastly, death toll during the Spring Revolution reaches 6,186, according to the AAPP. Now, let's take a look at each story in greater detail. First, NUG acting president calls for inclusion of competent allies in government. In an online cabinet meeting held on January 14, 2025, NUG acting president Douala Shila called for incorporating competent leaders from ethnic resistance organizations into the government. His appeal reflects the NUG strategy to deepen ties with ethnic allies whose leadership could prove instrumental in advancing Myanmar's revolutionary goals. The acting president emphasized the necessity of a practical coalition to strengthen cooperation among ethnic groups and broaden the revolution's scope. He also stressed the urgent need for reforms in the 3 Ps: People's Defense Organizations, People's Administration Organizations, and People's Security Organizations, noting that effective reforms would ensure better governance and resilience in liberated territories. During the same meeting, NUG Prime Minister Mawing Kante addressed governance challenges, citing instances where some local officials have strayed from revolutionary objectives. He called for stricter oversight and reaffirmed the government's commitment to accelerated reforms in 2025. This is part of a broader effort to unify revolutionary forces and improve operational efficiency. Next, NUG marks 4 years and announces plans to set up government offices in Sagae region. The National Unity Government is celebrating its 4th anniversary by taking a bold step to establish union-level government offices in the Sagae region. These offices will host ministers, deputy ministers, and regional leaders, marking a historic milestone in the NUG's effort to establish civilian governance in liberated areas. Sagae region is a stronghold of revolutionary forces, although these groups operate under different banners. The NUG aims to unify these groups, strengthen administrative functions, and enhance trust among local communities. This initiative comes 2 months after acting president Douala Shila's call for NUG's leaders to return to Myanmar. While many officials have been active in liberated areas for years, the establishment of permanent government offices signals a new phase in the fight for democracy. The Defense Ministry, along with other ministries, has already been coordinating activities in Sagae, demonstrating the NUG's resolve to build an administrative framework capable of resisting the military junta. However, critics emphasize the need for federal governance structures to ensure long-term success. Next, Myanmar ranks 3rd among countries with the most jailed journalists. A report by the Committee to Protect Journalists, or CPJ, released on January 16, 2025, has ranked Myanmar as the 3rd worst country for jailing journalists. As of December 1, 2024, at least 361 journalists worldwide were in prison, with Myanmar accounting for 35 cases. This places it behind China, which jailed 50 journalists, and Israel, which jailed 43. Belarus and Russia followed, each with 31 imprisoned journalists. Myanmar's record since the 2021 coup reflects an alarming escalation. 30 journalists were detained in 2021, followed by 42 in 2022 and 43 in 2023. Although arrests decreased in 2024, the CPJ clarified that this does not signal leniency from the military junta. Journalists often face military trials, denial of legal representation, and long sentences under anti-state laws. Prominent cases include journalist Myo Min-woo and Shin Do-ae, who were both sentenced to life imprisonment in 2024. While Shin Do-ae's sentence was reduced to 15 years in January of 2025 during an amnesty, the life sentence remains in effect. Meanwhile, Aung San-woo and Sai Zau-taik, the latter arrested while reporting on Cyclone Mocha, were sentenced to 20 years in prison for alleged terrorism-related charges. These actions highlight the regime's ongoing suppression of independent media and its broader assault on freedom of expression. Next, Kachin State Comprehensive University signs MOU with Goethe University. In an inspiring development for education, Kachin State Comprehensive University, or the KSCU, and Goethe University, Frankfurt, signed a Memorandum of Understanding on January 15th of 2025. The online ceremony marked the start of a partnership aimed at enhancing academic research, faculty exchanges, and expanded educational opportunities. The event saw participation from key figures including Dr. Zawei So, NUG's Union Minister for Education and Health, KSCU Deputy Rector Dr. Aung Nyan Tu, and administrative representatives from Goethe University. Discussions focused on fostering academic collaboration to improve access to quality education in Myanmar. Next, the Pope urges not to forget victims of the Pakant landslide. On January 13th of 2025, tragedy struck Pakant Township in Kachin State when a landslide engulfed Sapot village, burying over 50 homes and killing at least 32 people. The disaster occurred in a jade mining area notorious for hazardous conditions. In a heartfelt message during his general audience at the Vatican on January 15th, Pope Francis expressed condolences and called for international aid to assist the victims. He also urged the global community to remember those suffering in Myanmar, alongside victims of conflicts in Ukraine, Israel, and Palestine. The Pope's words resonate as a reminder of the interconnectedness of humanitarian struggles worldwide. Next, Thailand and Sri Lanka discuss rescue of trafficking victims. A high-level meeting between Thai NSC Secretary General Chachai Bangchad and Sri Lankan Ambassador Wijayanti Edirisinghe on January 10th of 2025 addressed the rescue of trafficking victims from Myanmar's cybercrime hubs. Reports indicate that over 6,000 individuals from 21 countries, including China, Indonesia, Ethiopia, and Kenya, have been trafficked into Myanmar, particularly along the Thai-Myanmar border. Among the recent cases was Chinese actor Wang Xi, who was rescued by Thai authorities on January 7, 2025, after being forced into labor in Myawaddy. The situation has underscored the need for stronger international cooperation to combat trafficking networks and protect vulnerable populations. Lastly, death toll during the Spring Revolution reaches 6,186. As of January 17, 2025, the Assistance Association for Political Prisoners, or AAPP, has verified 6,186 deaths since the military coup in February of 2021. Among the deceased are 1,374 women and 705 children. The organization also reported an additional 2,900 deaths awaiting verification. Over 28,000 individuals have been arrested or detained during the same period, with more than 10,000 already sentenced to prison. Among those detained, 168 have been sentenced to death, including 124 facing execution in prison and 44 sentenced to death in absentia. The AAPP's figures reflect only confirmed cases, and the true toll is believed to be higher. The organization continues to urge the public to share information about arrests, detentions, or fatalities to ensure accurate documentation of the junta's atrocities. And that concludes this week's news roundup on MMTV. As Myanmar's struggle for democracy continues, the courage of its people serves as a beacon of hope. Through revolution, advocacy, and global solidarity, the pursuit of justice remains unwavering. We call on the international community to stand with the people of Myanmar, to lend their voices against tyranny, and to support those who suffer under the weight of oppression. Together, we can work towards a brighter, freer future. Stay safe, stay informed, and join us next week for more updates. And until then, let us all continue to advocate for peace, justice, and the rights of those in need. Thank you, and goodbye.